All right, welcome to American Hammers TV Week in Review. Sunday night, December 29th, 2019, our last show of the decade. What a decade it's been. Before we start, all the things I always talk about, if you go to AmericanHammersTV.us and there's a link there to buy scarves, fantastic, wonderful claret and blue scarves that say American Hammers TV on them. Please take a look, pick up one of those if you haven't yet. Hey to our buddy Tebow. Chelmsford native who sent me my nice Chelmsford shirt. He's on at 2 a.m. in the UK. Always a faithful viewer, Tebow. We're glad to have him here. Anyway, so check out our website. We're getting a new website put up too that Alex. And there's a link there. Oops, got a little feedback there. We're getting a new website too that Alex from Mississippi has put up for us. And I don't know if it's completely ready yet. When it is, we'll let you know because it's way better than what I set up. Also, htv.threadless.com. If you want to boycott, here's an idea. If you want to boycott buying West Ham merchandise because you're upset at the board, all right, as an American supporter, here's how you can do it. Buy your stuff from us. Buy your stuff from us. Go to htv.threadless.com. And I got to say, Vic Singh, who's on Twitter, mentioned us today, and he tweeted out to all his followers, go to htv.threadless.com and buy your stuff if you want to boycott spending money with West Ham. And I think it's a fantastic idea, superb idea. Support us, not the club. So take a look at what we've got. Every type of merchandise you can imagine with West Ham logos, show logos, all sorts of things on it. So anyway, so tonight for our last show of the decade, I thought we could talk about the type of shin guards the players wear. This is a big concern to me. No, I'm just I don't know if anybody thought that was funny. Tonight we're talking about David Moyes. Public Enemy used to have a song called "Bring the Noise." Well, tonight we're gonna bring the Moyes, and everybody's very excited about it because the man just inspires passion. He really does. He sets me aflame. I don't think we have to have a whole lot of structure to this show. I think we're just going to let people go. And I'm going to get started with Charlie because he was on fire right before we got started. On fire. So back home in Brooklyn, New York, Charlie, give us your thoughts on West Ham and David Moyes. Go for it.
I'll give you the thoughts. Hold on, hold on a second.
I told him to wait until we started to get his rant going.
Hold on, I'm at going.
Oh, you're right. All right. You know what? We'll get back to you. Okay.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm still at going.
That's because you're.
I know I'm not. You know what it was? It was a Russian bot trying to interfere and try to cut me off. And guess what? Yeah, Moyes hired him, but it's not gonna work.
It's Charlie 2 times.
Yeah, Charlie 2 times, maybe three times. Okay, it was a cheap deal, just like the first time. Okay, the first time. When we hired him, right, brought him on, nobody was going to hire this mook bastard, okay, because how he just got Sunderland regulated. Go ask Sunderland. Well, you can't act because guess what? They ain't in the fucking Premier League no more, right? He killed them dead, and they're not coming back. Who knows when, all right? And he told that lady reporter, no class, all she said was, hey, do you feel pressure because the owner is in it? He's like, hey, if you talk like that, well, I'm gonna smack you. I'll give you a slap. I don't care if you're one. So nobody was gonna hire that bastard in the Premier League ever again. Okay, nobody was gonna hire him for how he talked to that lady. Cameras on, cameras off, and I don't want to hear no shit about no banter. You tell a lady you're gonna give her a slap and to tell her to be careful and watch out. Listen, you get no respect from me. I'll give him a fucking slap. And I don't want to hear this bullshit that he kept us up. All right. He's not the fucking Viagra of footy ball. It ain't fucking happening. There was 3 goddamn teams worse than us. That was it. There was guys on that team that had heart, that had fight. And you know what? We was about 3 fucking games from being shit canned. Don't tell me because we were better than West Brom and Stoke. Get the fuck out of here. He lost the shit ass teams. He put 17 fucking guys in front of the goal. Listen, it was a cheap appointment. Nobody was going to hire him. And don't tell me they brought him in to save us because his job that he just got fucked off at, he had him relegated. He killed him dead. She killed him fucking dead. That is no respect. And then Karen Brady, what I tell you, when she released, soon as they beat Chelsea, oh, we're 100% behind Pellegrini. And I said, you watch, she's going to be the bitch that fucking fires him whenever the game comes. And she was right after the game. So what happened on November 20th when you did your little propaganda? Huh? I'm not fucking having it. People, why are they protesting? My cousins was out there today, and anybody got some problem with it, guess what? You come see us. All right? Because listen, I'm glad if I was across the pond, I would have been out there and I would have been wrecking the fucking shop. Talking about sticking a flag in the center field. I'm going to stick the flag up his ass. Bullshit. This is a shit fucking, listen, it was cheap. It was cheap. He could have brought in, they could have brought in fucking Hayden Mullins finished the end of the year. They could have got anybody, caretaker coach, and then we're gonna recharge the buttons. And if people don't understand what the fucking thing is about, let me tell you what it's about. This shit was passed from my grandfather to my father, to my cousins, to me, and we've been spending money, and they've been listen. And they fucked off our thing, and they said, oh, it's because, we're going to be this big fucking blah, blah, blah. And you know what? They just lied. They just lied because they put the cheap, easy way out. And not only that, it's the bad business. Now they got Muko fucking David Moyes telling them what contract he wants because they're too stupid to run a fucking business. So he gives them the demand. He's like, no, you motherfuckers are going to give me 18 months, and they couldn't say no. How fucking stupid do we look? And there's people, why are people upset? Shut the fuck up. How about that? That's why we're upset. That's why we're upset, you fucking posh boys. Maybe you ain't been around long enough. Maybe you ain't had the fucking heart pain and all that. They gave away our fucking thing, okay? And, I'm different because my family comes from there. My dad comes from there, okay? They gave it we could have built a new state. We could have added shit to where the fuck we was at. We could have added. They fucking lied. They fucking lied. God, I'm gonna have a fucking stroke. I'm gonna have a stroke. Fuck David Moyes.
That's why he's here.
And fuck the board too. And fuck Karen fucking cunt Brady.
That's why
she was brought in here because she's a politician and she just smooched right up to the ass of the other politicians to get us in the fucking Epcot Center. And that's what it is. It's bourgeoisie, a bunch of sit down. Oh, blah. Fuck that place. Fuck that place.
Oh, man. If you missed church this morning, and you probably did, you just got your preaching for Sunday right there. Right. That was your preaching for Sunday right there. That was amazing.
Tell them how you really feel, bro.
I got so excited about hearing Charlie go off, and I forgot to introduce everybody else on the show. So that was Charlie from Brooklyn, who's back home in Brooklyn, if you couldn't tell, in full form. We got Liam from Fresno and our friend John from Philadelphia, host of Friday Night Lights, which people say is our most popular show. I'm not sure about that, but
really,
that's okay.
It's my favorite.
I heard it's almost hitting Week in Review. I heard it's almost there. It's the most popular show other than Week in Review.
Week in Review is pretty strong, I got to tell you. Anyway, we love Friday Night Lights, so it's a great show. So that's Charlie's take on David Moyes, not sparing a lot of words. Who wants to follow that? Who wants to jump in? Which one of you guys wants to give us what you think about it?
I don't remember the question.
Well, there wasn't really a question. It was more just
it was go off, young blood. That's what it was.
We'll get to
Sorry for the swears, kids.
We'll get to questions in a minute, but I want to open the floor and just say, give us your top of mind thoughts on the David Moyes appointment. John, why don't you go?
How do you follow that, first of all?
Well, you don't. That's why I'm making you do it.
Yeah, Charlie, 99% of what you say I agree with. I'm not happy with it. But I'm also not necessarily surprised by it, if you guys know what I mean. I mean, we're looking at a board that, I've said it before, is trying to Mike Ashley us to death. That's what they're doing. As long as we finish 17th and above, that's all they care about. That's all they're ever going to care about. That's why we're not doing cup runs. That's why we have no ambition. Right. And I mentioned on the show earlier, I did put my hands up probably a year and a half ago when they brought Pellegrini in and they actually shut up. Yeah. And I thought we were moving in the right direction. But instead, it seems like instead of shutting up, all they did was go on radio silence and bring the conversation from the public to the private and have it filtered out through whatever fucking channels they have to filter other shit out, to undermine people, to do things the way they want to do things, to take credit for everything that happens to be good, and to get rid of any blame. at the same time. So, I mean, that's who we're dealing with. I don't care. David Moyes, I don't care. Who else are we going to get? I don't think there was an opportunity for us to get anybody probably better than him. I think he's been brought in to keep us up from relegation. I think if that's the criteria, then who I want is probably Sam Allardyce, sadly.
Yes.
But it is what it is. And the man's going to hopefully get us 1.2, 1.3 points per game and get us over 40 points by the end of the season, keep us up. And then with a contract that's a year and a half long, maybe they can reevaluate in the summer. And the most banterish West Ham thing to do would be to fire him again and say he's not ambitious enough and not good enough. And that's probably what will happen.
The thought did cross my mind about that. Liam, what do you think?
Look, man, I mean, I know they talked about some of the win ratio stats earlier when John was on with Tim and Steve, but and Ray as well. But I mean, when you look at it and it's like, if you compare us under David Moyes, like that's Zola and Grant statistics, and who the fuck was happy when we were underneath their tutelage? I mean, it's I don't think it's even just
Zola played attacking football. At least we just didn't win.
But here's the thing: it's okay to play attacking football, but if your win percentage isn't there, you're still not.
Right, when Moyes doesn't play attacking football, that's what I'm saying. Zola did, Moyes doesn't. Yeah,
true. But I think that's where we run into the ongoing issue with this, and this is something I brought up when I was still on the Pellegrini in boat. Was who do you have to replace them? Like, yeah, you can boot Pellegrini out, but if who you bring in isn't going to inspire, isn't going to motivate, isn't going to create that passion in our players, then what was the point? Now we're bringing in fucking 18 months ago. We're bringing back the exact same shithole that we had stepped out of, and they're doing it on a way that makes it seem like, oh, well, we tried the Pellegrini experiment. We listened to the fans, and this is what you wanted. But look we're no better off. So we're going to go back to who we wanted because that's what makes more sense. Get the fuck out of here. It's a stall tactic by this board to try to get themselves to 2021 when they can try to upsell this club and do it in a way that they don't have to pay any they don't have to pay out any profits. I mean, I'm sure everybody saw the article that had come out, the H list, and it basically extols this whole theory behind the fact that this has been an ongoing stall tactic, that it does not matter if we finish 17th. It does not matter if we finish 9th. The board still makes the money that the board makes. It has no bearing what sort of anguish, what sort of pain it causes the supporters, because even if it filters out us diehards, they're still going to have the tourists. They're still going to have the people that come through for West Ham fucking coffee. Give me a break.
What is that? West Ham coffee? What's that?
There's the fucking coffee shop that Karen Brady's trying to push. There's this whole commercial side of the business that, especially over here in the States, like, we're not privy to, because we're not over there at London Stadium week in and week out having this shit shoved in our face. And now we are at the point that this has become a frustration. This has become something where I know people that don't even look forward to watching the games. Even when it's a 9:30 game, people are like, I'll catch the highlights. I'll watch 15 minutes of highlights and be less pissed. And it's heartbreaking for me, because I have been that person that, I think all of us, we've been those people that didn't matter if it was a 4 a.m., 9:30, 7:30, did not matter. We were going to be up. We were going to be supporting our boys. And it's gotten to the point where I will continue to support the club because it's the club that I love, and I've always loved them, and I always will love them regardless of what happens. But this board has given all of us the middle finger. And as Charlie Boy said, the people that are standing outside London Stadium, the ones that are chanting, the ones that are letting the board know exactly how they feel, that needs to continue. And it needs to continue until we get an appointment of a manager of what we were promised when we had to move out of Upton Park. And until I see that, the board can fuck off.
Yeah. There's not really much I can add to any of that. What I said on social media earlier today, and the way I really feel about it personally is, I would take David Moyes for the rest of the season to keep us up, or Sam Allardyce. I'd really rather have Sam Allardyce for that purpose. Bring him in for 6 months. Tell him, do what you do, Sam. Keep us up. I know nobody likes him, but the whole point is you're not bringing him in and saying he's the future. You're bringing him in and saying he's a stopgap. If they had brought Moyes in and said we keep him until May to keep us up, organize the team, get Pellegrini out of there, who obviously has some sort of weird toxic presence, fine. That's fine. I really don't mind an experienced manager for 6 months. Then we come in the summer and we say, all right, let's look at who's out there. Let's look at a real long-term appointment we're going to bring in for 2 years or 3 years. The problem I have, two problems that I have more than any other. One, it's an 18-month appointment, which seems ridiculous because, again, he's not going to bring us into the future. He's just going to tread water, if that. Two, this is the most tone-deaf appointment I think I've ever seen from an ownership in sports ever. I mean, well, I don't know. No, it's pretty close to it. I mean, there's been some bad coaching hires in American sports over the years, but I mean, the fact that the club had already kicked him aside once, the fact that the fans clearly did not want him back, made it very clear in every possible medium, on social media, in the ground, everywhere, that they didn't want him back. Right? I mean, this was not a big secret. The fact that that he was going to be unpopular and not just controversial, but sort of I don't know, unsupported, I guess, the minute they appointed him, and they did it anyway. I mean, that is just that I'm staggered by how tone deaf that is.
I'm not.
Well, I mean, I'm not, because I shouldn't be with this board, but it's just it's an absolute middle finger. It's a 2-finger salute to the UK. It's a kick to the balls. It really is. And it's just, there's an arrogance to it, a staggering arrogance to it. Like, we can do whatever we want because we own the club. We don't care what you think. That's really what bothers me the most. I don't blame David Moyes. All right. I don't have a problem with David Moyes taking a job, going in and saying, if I'm going to take this job, I'm going to negotiate a salary and terms that are favorable for me. I have no problem with David Moyes as a person or what he did. I don't want him as our manager long term, but I don't have a problem with what he did. He did what any of us would do. He went in and he dictated terms for a job. That's normal. To me, it all comes down to the board. It all comes down to the board saying, basically, yeah, we're not listening. We don't care. We're bringing this guy back because, and the thing is, clearly they were going to bring him back. He was announced like 10 minutes after they sacked Pellegrini. You know what I mean? There wasn't even enough time to have. I was hoping to come on tonight. I wore my Scott Parker shirt. I wanted to come on tonight and talk about who we wanted as manager. But it's done. It's a done deal. I'm driving back from Maine today. Well, not driving. My wife was driving, but I'm in the car coming back from Maine today. I'm looking through social media. It's done. It's done deal. Just like that. So clearly this was a fait accompli on their part.
Well, don't you think though? The frustrating thing, especially anybody that's a fan of the U.S. men's national team, is it echoes very similar to the appointment of Greg Berhalter, where
yes,
there was no other names floated. It was pretty much from the onset that it was Triple G, and they weren't really going to interview anybody else. And this kind of feels like the same thing. Charlie and I were going back and forth thinking that Kovac would have been a perfect fit. I mean, a hungry manager, had seen success in the Bundesliga, bringing up a team that was facing relegation, being able to bring them to back-to-back title finals, and then being able to move on to Bayern Munich. Like, we had other options, and it almost seemed like they didn't pursue it.
He was never an option. You guys think he was seriously an option? He was never an option.
No, John. This is what I'm saying, is that it's not that he is or isn't an option, is it doesn't feel like they even pursue it. And that ties back into what I was saying before, is that we were promised that this new stadium was going to bring top level players and this was going to bring top level talent managers. And we're not seeing that. And
well, you don't like Carlos Sanchez in your starting 11? What's wrong with you?
Man, when he started the other day,
you don't like Roberto?
Anyway. Tingles.
No, but John, I think your point is good. I mean, we have to think about who's going to come in and work for these clowns. I mean, this is a toxic situation.
No self-respecting manager is going to work for this board. Everything that we say is only because we've seen information that's become public.
Right.
That's a closed community, the football community. That's as closed as politics. That's as closed as, I don't know, the auto industry. There's only a certain amount of people that are involved in that industry, and they all know each other. They all run in the same circles. They all know what each other like. There's a huge rumor mill behind the scenes that we're not seeing, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
The things that are said about those guys are probably twice as bad in the behind-the-scenes shit as they are in the stuff that's in public. Who the hell wants to work for them?
And I can tell you, I mean, they've embarrassed us over and over and over again with the dealings they had trying to sign the Portuguese players. I don't remember, where they were offering installments of payments of like £5 million per quarter or something ridiculous like that.
Trying to put players on layaway.
Right, they're ridiculous. Look, David Moyes has a 1.5 year contract because the last contract he got was a 6-month contract.
Right. But the rumors were he was looking for 2.5 years. So I mean, if anything, we can at least take it as a positive that it was
Yes.
only a year and a half.
I
You
agree
know,
with that.
Yes.
2.5 years bothered me a lot. A year and a half bothered me, but not as
He
much.
shouldn't. How now? He shouldn't have got the first contract. We were okay. Remember, we was what 18th. It was in November. There's bringing him in. Oh, because we want to get. We don't want to be relegated. So who did they bring in? A guy that just got a fucking team relegated at Sunderland. So don't tell me it was because he had some coaching genius. Okay, because it wasn't. Period. And people say, I respect. I have no respect for a guy that tells a female reporter that he's going to give her a slap.
I do
No,
think that's
and
a
nobody was going to hire that son of a bitch. Listen, after he got us to what 13th, our team fought and got there, right? Okay, after he saved us, how come nobody wanted to hire him in the English Premier League then? Why? Because you know what? They have class, they have respect. Okay, they wasn't even going to bring him in, and I think it's disgusting that this mook bastard is even on the side of a pitch because he couldn't handle a lady asking him, do you feel pressure that the owner is at the stadium watching the game today? That's a question that you get when you're being in relegation, which he was at Sunderland.
Yep. And I'll tell you something else, Charlie. I believe, and you bring up a
This
good
is
point.
fucking crazy.
I think in this country, if he said that to a reporter in this country, he'd have been sacked and he'd never been hired again. I really believe that. I think right now with the Me Too movement and other things we have happening over here, I mean, you've seen this happen with, NFL players who've been suspended or ejected or whatever it is happens to them. I think a coach like that, especially when he's not particularly successful, if he said something like that to a female reporter here, I think he'd be pretty much blackballed and probably should be.
He was in the UK except for us. Here we go, schlepping right up. Hey, come on over to us. Come on over to the fucking pawn shop team. I'm surprised they didn't fire Pellegrini right before Black Friday and see if they could get a fucking sale on the next coach. Fucking cheap bastards.
Well, and look at it too. Like our last several run of managers, who was the last one that after leaving us got a job in the Premier League? Like who's done it? When's the last time you could think of a manager that after managing us?
Bilic will be back next season, but he didn't get a Premier League job.
That's what I'm saying. Even Bilic went to championship, but I was trying to think back, man. Like I can't think of the last time we had a manager that after managing us got picked up by another team.
Allardyce got the England gig.
Allardyce got the England job for about 2 weeks. Yeah.
He was brought here because he was cheap, not to avoid anything. He was the cheapest option. Yeah. Okay. And he's one of the only ones that would come here that would, period. He barely got out of the jam the first time.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And he lost to fucking teams that were actually relegated. There was no big, oh my God, look at that. I mean, there was 8+ games where he had 3+ goals, banging them in on them. They wasn't winning. They skated through.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, because I think this is all very valid stuff that we're talking about. What if you're a West Ham, we're all West Ham supporters. If you're in England and you go to every match and you are a season ticket holder, what do you do right now? What is your response? How do you let the board know how you feel? What specifically do you?
My family was out there. My cousins was out there, and they was singing. All right, I don't know exactly what the hell they was singing or what, you know what I'm saying, but they're protesting, and then people said, "Oh, what are they? Dude, that's stupid." Hey, whatever. You know what? Maybe it ain't in your fucking blood, and it don't go back. It don't go back that long for you. This ain't just some, oh, let's just go hang out and have a good. This shit is fucking serious, okay? And they got rid of our thing. Listen, they promised, especially my people over there. They promised them. We're gonna, and what Karen Brady say? She sent a video. This is like religion to them. Well, you knocked down our fucking church, bitch. You knocked down the church, okay? And you promised to do all these things, okay? And they don't even bring Kovac in or anybody that they had this shit planned, and they was waiting because they thought the Aston Villa, whatever, we was gonna get in that bottom, and it would have been cheaper to sack them. I know that's the fucking truth.
I mean, you guys, let's be real. I mean, Pochettino, Kovac, these guys were not going to come work for these clowns at West Ham.
Okay, but they didn't even try to fucking ass. They could have even did like a propaganda, a PR stunt. Hey, well, we brought them in and they said no. Right. Nah, they just said, fuck you guys. We'll just do whatever we want.
And that's what bothers me the most, Charlie. That's what bothers me the most, is that's exactly what they did.
That's what and they bring in Moyes. Okay, we're going to go forward by going backwards. He barely kept them up. He didn't do no great coaching. He lost to the fucking teams that was actually relegated.
So what do you do? I mean, do you not? If you're now for us, it's a little hard. I'll tell you what you do if you're in the U.S. Of course, you buy all your merchandise at htv.threadless.com. That's problem solved right there, right? Don't go to the club. Come to us. No, but seriously, if you're a West Ham supporter, if you're just a season ticket holder, what do you do? Do you not go to matches? Do you do a protest march of some sort? Do you get up and Baz Cox on Twitter, really good guy, Baz, friend of ours, had the idea, get up after 10 minutes of the Bournemouth match and just walk out? I mean, so that way you're sort of sending them a message like this is what's going to happen if you continue to do business this way. But what's your tactic at this point? What do you do? What, John? Let me go to you because you've lived there, you've gone to games there. What would you do right now?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. There is nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And the problem is, there's a couple of problems. One of the problems is right here, right? This team means so much to each one of us here. This team means so much to the people in the chat room, the people that go to the games. It's like, unlike any other industry that's out there.
Yeah.
You would not be able to get fucked over by a healthcare provider, by Coca-Cola, by any other brand, the way that a football brand can fuck you over. Because you will come back and come back and come back and still keep love for the team. You will still have love for it because it's a part of you. And that's the difficult thing, is that they've got us between a rock and a hard place when it comes, excuse me, when it comes to things like this, because they know it doesn't matter what they do. West Ham will still be a part of every single one of us. So we're going to be suckers for punishment. We're going to keep doing it. The other thing is the commercialization of the game, and it's a completely different animal now than it was 20, 30 years ago, where if we all walked out, if nobody showed up at the games anymore, it would actually hit the pockets of the owners. There is so much money on the TV side of things, on the branding side of things, that the only way to hit them in the pocket isn't by leaving the stadium, because ticket sales are what, maybe 5%, 7% of their overall revenues. I don't know if that even matters anymore.
No, I don't think. I'm not sure it does either. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think merchandise or tickets actually matter that much. It's all about TV now.
And you've already bought the season ticket. You know what I mean? Like they've got the money. So you not going just means it's an empty seat. It doesn't mean that. Unless you're buying the overpriced popcorn, you're not hitting their pocketbook. Even that,
a lot of that money is going to go to the vendors. I mean, that's not. That doesn't buy you players. You know, popcorn sales and merchandise sales don't buy you players.
Right. So I mean, hopefully, any kind of protest, any kind of walkout, any kind of stuff.
How about we don't leave the stadium? We just stay there in the seats.
Well, that
just stay there, and because we'll get the media. That's what's gonna hurt them. Then we get the media. Then we sing, we dance, we do whatever we got to do peacefully, and don't leave after the game. Don't leave the stadium. We ain't going nowhere. This is our fucking team. This ain't your fucking team. Fuck you, Karen.
We got to back the team without backing the board. That I don't know if that's much of a
somebody
solution,
said I don't got to support no coach, no board, no shit. I support the badge, and I always will. All right, this is passed down to me. This the whole time. When I'm not, there ain't no running. Right. This is our guys. Whatever. What if we just don't leave the stadium? Then it's gonna get media coverage. Yeah. I got some other ideas, but I don't want to fucking say them on here because I have people
inciting a riot.
Charlie Fox.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep your roots run in Brooklyn, Charlie, but I know how Brooklyn works a little bit. And I think we should try to avoid getting arrested for RICO.
Hey, listen, I don't give a shit about jail. I'll go to jail. You understand what I'm listen to me. I'm so fucking pissed off that they hired this motherfucker. Listen, I will get my sandwich ready. Because if I see him on Green Street in a month and a half, I'm going over. If I see that motherfucker on Green Street, I'm taking one for the team. I don't care. I'm not gonna hurt him real bad, but I'm gonna give him one. Oh yeah, I promise.
We'll bail you out. We'll get together and bail you out if that even exists in the UK. I don't know how it works over there, but
send some money on the other side of the wall, eh, Charlie?
Yeah. our new product on ahtv.threadless.com will be free Charlie t-shirt.
What else are we gonna do here? I mean, what the fuck can we do? I don't know what to do. What else?
Yeah, you know what?
We can't wait for him to have a heart attack because you got to have a fucking heart to have a heart attack. So you ain't gonna have no goddamn heart attack.
And even when you do that, the kids are gonna get it anyways. The kids are gonna get this club. If they don't sell it off to somebody else, it gets handed down to John Boy and the fucking Airhead twins. I don't think that
Liam, tell us what would you do? Liam, you didn't really get the answer to the question. What would you do?
So, as I said before, I think with the trying to hit him in the pocketbooks, I understand the idea behind it, the logistics behind it, but it's not. What was it? Someone in the chat was saying that. Oh, Christopher was saying that we. Sorry, vote on me.
This is John. Oh, John.
With that pretty hair. Oh
I
yeah.
never have my admiration, and it's true. I am too pretty for jail. That's true. And also, just not a good scene for me. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Liam. Sorry.
No, but I was saying, but with Christopher, that they had an article that most of it comes from the TV money, anyways. It's not about the attendance. So even if we drop, even if we do hit the drop and we go down, it's not going to matter if we only have 20, 30,000 people in the stadium, because that's not where the money is. Their biggest pocket hit is going to be relegation, because they're not going to have the TV rights that they get with the Premier League. So that's why they bring Moyes in, because they want to stay up. The only way that we can really, really hit them, honestly, is to just be vocal. I mean, like Charlie said, if you're going to sit in the stadium, you're going to chant, you're going to be active. It has to be more than just this, right? It has to be more than internet cowboys. It can't just be furious rants on Twitter or even on here. It has to be the people that can be there, that can be there in person, that can be present, that can be vocal, that can at least get the board to rethink. Throwing quarters or pennies or whatever at them. It was like 30 coins chucked at the Davids. Yeah. What's that going to do? All you're going to do is injure an old ass man. They're going to be more stuck in their ways and dressed more like Russian mafia. Like it's
he looks so. Why does he dress like that?
He probably picked them up after they hit the floor.
Honestly. Hey, this is all we need to buy Moyes. This will be perfect. 30 pounds of silver.
Moyes and said, "Here's your first month's salary."
Honestly, well, it was like I saw a video of somebody put like a dildo on the back of David Gold's car, and it's like it's funny, right? Because you're like, he's a dildo salesman. It's funny, but it doesn't do anything, man. Like it's funny for the moment, but like Charlie said, like this is serious. Like if we're gonna make a difference, we gotta try multiple avenues, and I implore everybody to be vocal about it.
But my thought is, and I know this is subtle and difficult, maybe even impossible, but my thought is go after the board, right? I mean, because David Moyes, it doesn't really do a lot of good to go after him. He's just a guy doing a job, We want him, ultimately, we want him to succeed because we want to stay up, right? We need him to succeed, even though nobody wants him here. And my fear is that people are going to be too quick to go after him when, in fact, he's really not the problem. I mean, he's not the solution either, but he's not the problem. The board are the problem. But as you said, John, I mean, they don't listen. They're not going to listen. What are you going to do? You force the mass cancellation of millions of Sky Sports subscriptions? Because that's how they make their money anyway. They don't make it off of us. I mean, what do I? My wife bought 3 stocking caps, West Ham stocking caps for Christmas for me and the boys for this year. It's great. But if we hadn't bought those, we're still going to have David Moyes as manager. It doesn't really matter, So let me ask you this. So. Is there anything David Moyes can do? What do you think the first, other than winning matches, all right, other than winning matches, which is the obvious thing that he's there to do, which we need to do, what could he do in his first, month in charge to give you some level of confidence, or at least reduce your anger? Anything, Charlie? Anything David Moyes can do to make you think, all right, well, at least he'll be reasonable to the end of the season?
I mean, I don't like him. There ain't nothing. I mean, we need a win, right? But what they need to do is get some more guys in here, because if they don't get him in those signings, all right, it ain't gonna matter. Because if you ask, this is what I said on Twitter, right? If you ask Google how to say David Moyes in Spanish, they say Manuel Pellegrini. There's no fucking difference. They're putting a silk head on a pig. All right. We still got slow guys in the middle of the field. Okay. We still have no goddamn fullbacks. So what's he going to do? We still can't cross the ball in. What's he going to do? He's going to teach grown ass men. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just, that's all I'm saying is what is there one move listen, okay. What if he goes to a 3-5-2? Does it help? I mean, do you give him a chance because of that? I mean, anything can you do?
No. I mean, listen, these guys, we've tried different formations. Okay, a couple, not the whole season, but the offense still didn't. We just still wasn't banging in goals. We tried 2 up front. Haller got 1. He got 1 shot in. Okay, we need guys. These guys ain't doing it. I love Snotty. I love Snods. He puts in a shift. But listen, he's falling down on the ball. He's slow. His legs ain't there no more. Okay. I love fucking Noble, but Noble can't play every single game. We can't count on him to be young Noble. Okay. And this is a big problem. And okay, we could do the 3-5 with make the fullbacks wing backs. Okay. But Masuaku can't pass the ball. All right. He just can't. And he can't play defense. Fredericks has pace. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Zabaleta, listen, he's an old warrior, but it's gone. He had to play back from the line, right? He had to play, and you can't, because when you do that, okay, you're helping them get on sides. You have to keep the line. You can't just because he's old and slow, because then the guy's going to cut through the middle, and there's nothing Diop or Ogbonna or anybody could do. Okay, and that game versus Crystal Palace, or the game where he did a little spin and they walked right through, that had nothing to do with Pellegrini. That had to do with simple footy skills. You follow the man's upper torso, wherever that goes is where he fucking goes. He walked right by Declan. Then Balbuena stabs at the fucking ball.
Yep.
Okay, this is not schoolyard footy. Well, this is a professional club out here, and we're looking like a bunch of fucking Mickeys out there. So what's Moyes gonna do? Oh, they need a slap on that. Listen, people saying, "Oh, we're good on paper." Are we? What the fuck does that mean? Because we're shit on the pitch.
Yeah.
Period. There's a few guys that have it.
Defending.
There's a lot of guys that don't, and some of them it's not skill. It's just because time has passed them.
Yeah.
And you can't blame that, on them.
No. Well, listen, you're getting into a lot of stuff that we know is an issue, and yeah, the second Palace goal was just. I mean, I've seen better defending from my son's, a third grade travel team. Honestly, I've seen my son play better than that.
90th minute, they let him walk right in.
Again, second time this season. Again with Palace.
Yeah.
Again, the same player.
Anyway, it was Jordan Ayew that got the winner last time.
That's
too.
Who like £2.5 million Jordan Ayew, whatever it was it cost.
We just signed the wrong. We held on to Andre for too long. We should have gone for Jordan.
I think I'm gonna die today on the show, guys. I'm gonna have a fucking stroke. If I fall over, just somebody get over to Brooklyn. Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's either going to be here or in an English prison. So one way or the other. It's maybe the last we see of Charlie. Liam, anything Moyes can do right off the bat to give you confidence?
I mean, it's tough, right? Because I think we'd all love to see a cup run. I think if we saw him go deep in the FA Cup, we would take that as a positive out of this, right? Because we knew Pellegrini was not going to prioritize that. So to see Moyes do that, I think would help kind of win back maybe some of the goodwill of the supporters. But let's be honest, like his priority is going to be keeping us up. So the cups are gone. We might as well forget about those. There's no way that he tries to field a competitive team. He's going to try to, let a bunch of the kids go out and play, the reserves go out and play. It's not going to be pretty. We'll probably go out to Gillingham, to be honest with you. I don't know, man. I think he'll probably go back to that 3-5-2 that he was playing at the end of last season, mostly because he's going to park 5. We call it a 3-5-2, but let's be honest, it'll be a 5-3-2. He's going to park 5 behind the ball, and we're going to try to play a counterattacking style with absolutely the slowest forward I've ever seen in Sebastian Haller. So
yeah.
I'll be honest. I'd love to see him change it up and do like a 3-4-3 instead, and kind of play Antonio between the lines with Haller and Antonio up top. So there is a little bit more of that attacking presence, especially if the midfield gets pinned back as I expect them to. But I mean, otherwise, I don't know. I mean, yeah, if he keeps us up, job done. But then we still have to suffer through another season with him. So I don't know. There's nothing he's going to do that's going to get me excited about it. But if we start to see some attacking, attractive football, then yeah, maybe I'll lighten up on him. But
don't hold your breath on that one.
And to be fair, look, John said it perfectly earlier. I have nothing against David Moyes. Like,
right.
Dude saw an opportunity, just like any of the rest of us, we would take it. But I'm not thrilled about the appointment. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's him either. I mean, that's the delicate thing. John, anything Moyes can do for you right off the bat?
Not what he can do, but what he will do. And that is, we're a team that is so crap right now, and teams that are playing that bad need to get back to the fundamentals. And that's what he will do. He'll get back to the basics, bring the fundamentals back. He will require 100% commitment from every single player on the pitch. And listen, We have good players. We have good players. We have better players than the first time he was here. So if he can get 100% commitment, we'll actually start scoring some goals. Stop playing the high risk, high reward offside trap. First of all, get bodies close to strikers.
Agreed. That's
instead of letting them slip in over the shoulder every time.
Yep.
And hopefully start looking a little bit tighter at the back. So those are the things he will do. What he could do, that would be revolutionary for me. So how many of us we've been scorned lovers in the past and have said, you know, if only I knew now what I know then. Not many people get to go and revisit that situation. David Moyes is getting to revisit David Sullivan and David Gold as a scorned lover and come back and hopefully play them like a fiddle. And that's what I hope he does.
And with a stronger squad. You compare this squad to what he had 18 months ago, and, you know, I'd take this squad.
Do you think it's that much better? I mean, is it that much better?
I do. Honestly, I don't think that Pellegrini got the best out of the squad, especially with the money that they spent. But let's be honest. If Moyes had stayed in charge during that time, there's no way that the board would have backed him with the kind of money that they had to back Pellegrini with. I just don't think that Pellegrini could really play to the strengths. He had a style and tactic formation that he wanted to play, and he was trying to, you know, square peg in a round hole with these guys. I think that Moyes will look at the talent that he has. He'll evaluate it the way that a manager should, and he will play to their strengths. And as we've all been saying for this entire season, I ultimately think the strengths of this squad are within a 3-5-2.
I mean, the biggest thing for me would be the formation. I agree. Some flexibility with the formations, a recognition that the 4-1-4-1, whatever it is we've been playing, 4-2-3-1, has not been working, doesn't work. I think that's a start. I think a 3-5-2 would help. Obviously, you know, if we get a couple of wins in, I think people will at least start to tolerate him. You know, John and I were talking about this before we started. Our fan base is so bipolar. I mean, we win one match and it's, oh, you know, we're on our way to Europe and we have the greatest manager ever. We lose a match and it's, you know, oh, we're going down and, you know, we're dead as a club. And I mean, I do think we are obviously a real threat to go down this season. There's no question about that. But I think Moyes is, you know, walking into a very difficult situation. But, you know, 6 points in his first, let's say, 3 or 4 games would help a lot. It would help turn things around quite a bit. But this is a real question. I think, you know, we're heading into the January transfer window. He's going to be in charge. I'm looking at the players he brought in, and I don't know. I don't know if this is comprehensive or not. So you guys let me know if I'm forgetting something here. I'll share this. Let's see.
He passed on a lot of good ones.
Yeah, you
Well,
passed on Madison, man.
Passed on Madison,
I know.
Donker, who pushed our shit in versus Wolves.
Yeah.
Passed on McGinn.
Yeah.
So this is really hard to see, and I apologize. It's really small, but
See, Jao Mario, man, that was one I wish they had stayed on.
Senior
And he-
Bubbles.
and
Oh,
he
no.
No, he wanted to too, but they just
Jao-
they didn't.
yeah, no, John Mario was good. We know about Hugel, obviously. Let's see if this gets any easier to read if I do this. We know about Hugel, obviously. John Mario was not a bad player.
Fucking face.
Didn't have much of a record signing players at West Ham. Do you trust him to? I mean, these are the guys he signed over the years by fee. You have Mata, you have Fellaini at Manchester United, Fellaini again at Everton, Didier Ndong. I don't even know if I remember who that is. A lot of names on here that are not like ringing bells for me.
Then he let Rooney go to Man United.
Probably, although I
What
don't.
a fucking genius. What a genius.
I don't know how much choice he had in that. To be fair, I mean, Rooney may have wanted to go. I really don't know. But you look at this list, and it's not popping out with a lot of super familiar great names here.
Yeah.
Kevin Morales, I guess, was a pretty good player. What do you guys think? Do you trust him to sign January players? And you know, who would you like to see come in?
You really think that they're going to let him do the signings? This is going to be Sullivan's January window. I don't think they give Moyes much for money. And I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of expected this to be Sullivan's chance to bring in the guys that he wants to bring in, because now he doesn't have to kowtow to Hyselios and Pellegrini. So I'll be honest. I don't. I mean,
That's a good point.
unless Moyes ends up bringing in Fellini, because as you pointed out, he likes to bring him into every squad he's got. So.
He's going to be like Kevin Nolan and Sam Allardyce. Although that worked out really well for us.
It did, but where's Fellini right now? China.
I think he's in China. He's in China. Oh, by the way, let's just talk about China for a second. Can we talk about China for just a second while we're talking about player transfers?
49 million cap.
A salary cap in China, and all of a sudden,
for foreign players.
All of a sudden, the Austrian turncoat may not be able to make his money anymore. Okay, theoretically, hypothetically, would you take him back?
I don't know, man. He could put in.
I don't think he's
goals.
Would you take him back?
That's like asking would I take Payet back?
Man. Oh, I'd take Payet back in a heartbeat. No.
I'd take him back.
Great players, top of their game, and like when you really think about where our squad would be if you had that kind of talent tied in with the guys that we got right now, like yeah, man, I think we'd be top. So it'd be like, do you bring back Paul Ince? You know, you do it because he's talented, but you got to swallow some pride. You got to eat some crow. So.
We're averaging like 1 goal a game.
Fuck, I would take him back.
I think not even our striker like 21 games and we scored 21 goals.
Yeah,
I would take Arnautovic back and I put him up top with Allaire, and I think a lot more production. And the only problem, I don't think it's going to happen. First of all, I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
but I mean,
we're going to have to sell some guys too to get some money to spend.
But we're gonna sell the guys we're gonna lose money on. We're gonna sell Yarmo. We're gonna sell Roberto if anybody will, open their coin purse.
We're gonna have to pay somebody to take Roberto.
We're gonna sell Ayeti in all likelihood. I think
probably.
Fucking Ayeti.
We're gonna sell Yarmo. I mean, I can't imagine we hang on to Sanchez. I don't know why we would.
That's why we need a midfielder, because if Noble gets a rest, who we're gonna bring out there? Rock Ruff and Puff and my Afro stuff. That guy's fucking terrible.
What was it, Allen? I kept seeing that on Twitter too, where they're talking
about Allen for Napoli. You talking about the Brazilian bull?
No.
Oh, that would have been fucking amazing.
That would have been great. Fuck, who was it?
I think honestly, my biggest priority. Maybe this is a question. This is how we should ask the question. Your biggest priority for the January window, because for me, it's fullbacks. It's fullbacks.
Yeah, I mean, fullbacks in the mid, I think.
In a mid, I agree, but if I had to pick an absolute top priority, it's left back, right back, and I can't really separate between the two. We saw, I mean, Fredericks, I don't think is good enough, but we saw when he was suspended what happened with Zabaleta, who just got absolutely shredded. He should be in the coaching system. He should not be playing anymore. He's a mentor, and that's great, but he shouldn't put the shirt on anymore. I thought Cresswell was garbage against Palace. I thought it was awful. Got skinned over and over again. And we know Masuaku has some mobility up the wing, but he's really not a very good defender. I think we got to have left back, right back first. What do you guys think? John, you haven't talked in a while. Why don't we go to you?
We need a centre midfielder. We need Decore or somebody like him. Everywhere else, we're serviceable. Everywhere else, we don't necessarily need to spend. We have the talent to stay up if that's the aim and the total aim for this year. Then we just need a box-to-box midfielder.
All right. Fair enough. I think we do. I agree with you. I think you're right. What about you, Liam?
I think we still need a striker, man, because especially if we're going to sell off Yarmo and Yeti, like we basically have Allaire and Antonio, and that's it. And then we already know Antonio's accident prone. We already know Allaire is good for about 15 minutes, and then he's jogging around the pitch for the next 45.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I know he hadn't gotten service and all that, but he hasn't put out that much effort to me. He doesn't look interested to me at all.
Well, he strikes me as the kind of guy, which is bizarre, but one that hugs between the center backs and tries to play for the through ball, but then he doesn't have pace to beat the center back. So it's like, if that's your game, you need to be quicker, at least on the quick step, right? I'm not expecting him to be able to make 40-yard dashes, but at least on a quick sprint, he should be able to blow by those defenders. And the dude is just molasses, man. I don't get it. So
what's amazing about him, Liam, is that he's more like a number 10 than he is a number 9.
Right? Like you'd almost expect him to be more of a creator, like a chance creator. Yep. But what you guys are saying, like we need that number 8. We need more of that box to box, that person that has the pace. They have the engine. We need Mark Noble 10 years ago, like somebody that can get honestly up and down the pitch with some sort of pace. Like I don't know. I almost hate to say it, but we need like an Arnautovic or like a Chicharito, somebody that can either battle and put the ball in the back of the net or somebody that's going to poach and can be that guy on the end of a cross.
I think this would be a vastly better team if we had Chicha and Allaire up front. I think it'd be a whole different. I think it'd been a whole different season already. I really do.
I've been very angry at the way Allaire has not attacked any
do.
kind of cross balls. Not that we're putting a whole lot in, because for some reason we just stop and play the ball backwards and sideways again. But he's not. You know, he's as big as Andy Carroll, but he's not Andy Carroll at all. You know, he's not going to be used in that way.
He has put in, to me, very little effort. His first couple of goals, I thought, were pretty impressive because he made runs. He got on the end of a ball after he made a run and he scored, and that's what I expected from him. And I know our service hasn't been great. I know, I understand that. I get that. But he's not doing anything to help himself. He's lazy. He's shooting straight to the keeper. He shows no pace. He shows no finishing ability. I'm just super disappointed in him, and I've given him a lot of chances, a lot of excuses. But I feel as though now it's time to say it. He looks like a huge disappointment, and he's our, record signing. So again, not a great piece of business there. What about you, Charlie? I don't know if I asked you or not. What do you think? What do you think we need in January?
Center mid. I think we need. I would take two and definitely a left back, because listen, Masuaku, he's quick, but he defends. Remember the game versus Arsenal? Pepe. He
got shredded.
He let him come into the box. Okay, he could have got in front of him, put the body in front. He let him get on his shooting foot, not like 3 times. We lost that game because he let him. You get up in his chest. You let him get on his shooting foot. At least make an effort. You know what I'm saying? This is stuff you learn at young. You know what I'm saying? And going forward, I think it was versus Wolves. He had like 20, 30 yards, and he kicks the ball in the back of the guy's fucking head. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Knocks the guy on the ground, gives him CTE. We need a fullback, but we definitely need a mid, because listen, when Zabaleta, he couldn't stay with Zaha, right? Yeah. So you see Noble's running to try to cover the ground. Okay, now listen, when that center mid's covering for Zabs, guess what? That's not the middle of the pitch is open. Now they're shooting. Then the formation is broke. And this is how we're getting fucked off. Listen, we're slow in the midfield. And Noble cannot play every fucking game. He just can't do it. He's at the point where everybody was surprised that he was on the bench the last game. We just played Thursday. They're not going to run him out there Saturday.
Possibly run him out again. No, I agree. Everybody was surprised by 7 changes. I mean, listen, I'm not defending Pellegrini at all. There'd be no point now anyway. But you played the games 2 days apart. I mean, you have to.
And he had no choice. Who else was he going to put? I mean, he could have put Snoddy out, but Snoddy needed a rest too. He's 33, 30, whatever. And his legs
My problem is that Sanchez is still with the club at all. I just don't think he should be.
Listen, he should. I don't even know if he would be good in the MLS. This guy, I don't know if his hair is holding him down or what his problem is. And I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying?
Hair is only an asset to footballers. Hair is
nobody else is paying him $70,000 a week like we are, so he ain't going anywhere.
How many times did he was passing it back to the keeper and almost giving it right to him? I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're gonna give him a fucking assist. And Noble did it too. And you know what? I was kind of mad at Noble because Ogbonna checked him. He was like, hey, what are you doing that? And he got all Barney Babcock on him, like, oh, don't say nothing to me. I'm Mr. Noble.
That's a
whoa. You fucking fucked up, buddy. He called you out.
You think that played a factor for why all 3 of them weren't starting this game too?
No. I think no. Well, maybe
because Ogbonna, like I don't know if I put him in the same age category as I do with like Snodgrass and Noble.
He's
even
up
Cress,
there.
Man. I don't think I would have still played. I would have put through Cress out there instead of Masuaku, but. Fuck, man, what do I know?
I don't think either one of them was effective. But
maybe Pellegrini said, I want out of here. Fuck this.
Right.
I'm with Sanchez. You're starting. He said, I had enough of this guy. He's like, this Charlie guy's going to run on the pitch and bash me. I've had enough. I'm done with these fuckers.
I need to be back to Philly by New Year's.
The cold is setting in. I'm done. Karen Brady's a cunt. Fuck these people. I'm gone.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, there's the whole Noble thing. Oh, yeah, Cresswell was suspended. I forgot.
Oh, that's right. The yellow card.
He's right. He's right. I forgot about that. The whole Noble thing, to get away from Moyes for a minute, Noble and Ogbonna going after it. Now, so are we sure that's what it was about? Ogbonna went to Noble and said, hey, don't be, got to be careful where you pass the ball.
Yeah, no, he made a bad pass backwards. That's a
Right.
no. That's basic footy. You know what I'm saying?
Basic-
Noble fucked up. He big time. Everybody knows he did.
I tell my first graders that. Never
And-
clear the ball in front of your own goal. Never pass backwards in front of your own
You know
goal.
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so Agbano was like, giving him I don't know exactly what he said, but we could probably guess, hey, bad pass, or what are you doing, or whatever. And then Noble lost his mind, like he was
Think about Noble's reaction, because I thought it was too much for a captain in the middle of a match to behave.
Yeah.
I thought he was acting like a fucking one of them girls from the Bronx. He was going fucking nuts. I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? I need some hoop earrings.
You stepped on
Take
my Louis
it-
Vuitton.
Yeah, take it easy, ma.
What did
Oh,
you-
relax.
John, what did you
Jesus.
think about it? What did you think about Noble's outburst?
It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. As a club captain, probably in the heat at the moment. Him and Ogbonna have to sort it out. I'm sure it was all sorted out behind the scenes. And I think it probably is a reason why they both sat. Ogbonna wasn't even in the squad for the
No, he
last
wasn't.
game.
And he's been our best
No.
player. He's been our best player, I think, all season. Liam, did you have any thoughts about Noble?
I was just gonna say I was wondering if it was frustration behind the scenes that's bubbled over. You know what I mean? Like, because you think about when Noble's on the pitch, he's screaming at people. You know what I mean? Like he's pointing his hand, he's screaming at people to move, and I wonder if he's just getting. I think he's just getting fed up with it. To be honest with you, like it was embarrassing, and I'm a huge Noble fan, and it almost pained me to see him get that out of sorts. I'm like, look, man, I know you support Brexit, but you don't need to be coming at the foreigners like that. Like that's jacked up, bro. Like, come on. settle your politics on your own time.
He's
But
asking
no, I mean-
for his passport. Yeah.
Right? But no, man, like,
I thought it was unprofessional. Of a
for
player
sure,
who's been with
especially
us
from your
for-
captain.
Yeah, he's 15-year veteran, 16-year veteran, been with us his whole life. I love his passion, but I didn't like the way he attacked. First of all, one of our better players in the game.
Yeah,
And also one of the better
yeah.
players, period, all season. And I think it was 1-1 at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 1-1, or maybe we might have even still been up 1-0. I don't remember.
No. We were. I think it was 1-1.
I think it was 1-1. It's just not appropriate at a time when you're trying to have some communication on the pitch and keep everybody together and keep everybody in the same mission, to at least get a draw in a situation like that.
And we were big after we scored, but once they equalized, it just pulled the air right out of our sails. Man.
All
Like, you
fell
could tell
apart the way it
everybody
always
was deflated.
all fell apart, and that match winner was coming from them.
Yep.
For half an hour, it was coming from them. It was just inevitable. I thought, yeah. Well, this is a good point that Neil makes too. I mean, Noble's got to be frustrated in general. I mean, despite what he did against Palace, he is a professional. He's been with us for a long time. I generally think he's been a good captain insofar as he knows when to get into, when to light into people and more or less when not to. I do think he's starting to lose it, though, a little bit. I think he's starting to lose it, and he's probably, really sick of what's going on at the club. He's just not in a position to move, obviously, because he's too old. Nobody else is going to take him, and he's lifelong West Ham. But he lost it at a time when he shouldn't have lost it. I thought it was inappropriate and unprofessional and unfortunate. And then
Maybe he still had a little bit of a hangover, because I think Snoddy did. I think Snods had a fucking hangover out there when he came out. He had a fucking hangover. And then we had the fucking snowman. We ain't talked about that, the snowman thing. kidding me?
Oh,
Do you
yes.
see how they're trying to spin that? Do you see how they're trying to spin that now?
Could you imagine? Hey, babe, somebody just crashed into the fucking house.
Somebody on Twitter.
Somebody's getting out of Lambo in a snowman suit.
Somebody on Twitter, and it might have been, I don't know, maybe it was you, Liam. Somebody on Twitter.
Oh,
said,
shit.
if an American ever asks you why you support West Ham, just show them that.
Oh, I wish that was me, but yeah, man, like that
Our
was
best player, at least in terms of skill, probably right now, our best player, our top performing player, drives his leg out, dressed as a snowman, still dressed as a snowman. That's the best part. He gets out, got the whole thing on.
no.
Those. But other than that, he's got absolutely the most West Ham thing that could ever happen. I'm just glad nobody was hurt, I guess. I mean,
Well, and then he plays a game 24 hours later,
he
and
plays
now they're
24 hours later. Yeah.
now they're trying to spin it that the board is using that as an example of how Pellegrini has lost the dressing room. That people don't respect him because Antonio's dressed like a snowman driving a Lamborghini. Like I wish you could make this shit up, but this is legitimately what the board's trying to use as like tactics for why Pellegrini's out.
It's the boards. I mean, that's listen, it's just Antonio being stupid. I don't think he's the brightest guy. I'm sorry. I like him as a player. I'm glad he's with West Ham. I think when he performs, he's one of our best players. He's an absolute physical beast. He's one of the guys who will actually attack, will actually try to dribble, try to attack a defender instead of passing the ball sideways or backward. So I like him for that. But I mean, what a completely just. I guess he'll be rebuilding somebody's back garden now. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but
yeah, he came out and said that he like apologized to the family and he said he was willing to pay for all the damages. So
He should have been willing to pay for a fucking cab.
right? Holy
I mean,
shit.
seriously, because let's admit it, like he'd had a few, right? Surely,
For sure.
I mean, I know those are fast cars, and not that I've ever driven one. I know those are fast cars and very powerful, but it's just. If he was out drinking, that's really stupid. I mean, that's beyond stupid. That's like dangerous to the point of you could actually kill somebody. So, not to bring a funny moment into a dark place, but it's remarkably dumb from a guy who should know better. And yeah,
way to ruin it, Lee.
I know. It should be awesome, but it's sort of not awesome. And it's only awesome because there wasn't like a kid in the back garden at the time. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you guys though, like, how did you feel about Rice getting his first captaincy? Right?
Too young. Sorry, no. I'll be the contrarian here. Everybody else can disagree with me. I think he's too young. Plus, he hasn't been playing all that well lately.
Right. Well, I thought it was interesting, like Fabianski's first game back, but you don't give him the armband when you don't have Cress and you don't have Noble and you don't have Ogbonna. Your other three captains,
right?
And Antonio. Like, I get it, limited options. You're not going to give it to Carlos Sanchez. But, you know what I mean? But I was kind of shocked, man. Like, I was excited for Rice, right? Because like that's a big moment for him. But like, isn't now this going to be overshadowed by the fact that this was Pellegrini sacking? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
I haven't seen anybody talking about him captaining. And to be honest, I didn't see him act like a captain on the field, which was kind of disappointing.
No, he's too young and he's too much of a goofball right now. I mean, he's a great player with a lot of potential. I think his form has dipped a little bit lately, and I hope that's temporary. Probably is, but he's a goofball. He's a goofy, silly guy. He doesn't have a captain's mentality. He may eventually, but he doesn't right now when he's 20, 21 years old. I don't know. Charlie, John, you guys have thoughts on that? It's a good question, Liam.
I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I thought it was okay. Somebody had to get it. You know what I'm saying? Carlos Sanchez would have used this as a fucking headband, probably. Hold his hair back, and he'd have been a different gravy. You understand what I'm saying? Who else do you really give it to? Yeah, right. Who do you give it to? Fabianski, the goalie? You can't give the goalie the fucking armband. I mean,
they've done it.
I hate having the keeper as captain. I've never liked that. It's happened, but I don't like it.
And he's been gone the whole. I don't know. Maybe they were giving it to him to see, like, hey, listen, we're trying to, you know what I mean? Give him that. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, to push him forward into it. And he really didn't take it. Like, he didn't really take the reins, I guess you should say.
I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready. John, what do you think? Any thoughts?
He's the only one that's playing consistently out of the rest of that team. Cresswell was out of the team. Ogbonna, who's the third backup captain, was out of the team.
Yeah.
Who are you going to give it to? You're not giving it to Allaire. You're not giving it to Fab, like you guys were saying. You're not giving it to Fredericks. You're not giving it to Sanchez, certainly.
I would have given it to Fab. Even though I don't like keepers getting the armband, I still would have given it to him, I think.
That's how good we are right now. Think about this. We can't even figure out who to give the goddamn armband to.
I mean, you have a good point, John. I would have broken my own rule and have given it to the keeper only because he's mature. I think he would have been able to handle it. I don't think Declan was ready. I think it was pushing him a little too hard, too soon.
I think that's all right. I think he needs that push. Maybe he needs the maturity. He's got to step up. And if he wants to lead this team instead of pissing off in the summertime, then he needs to know what that feels like to have to step into that position. So give it to him. I'd give it to him the next game.
Would you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's in the midfield. That's a place where you want a captain. Give it to him and tell him, this is your team. Drive him forward. Why not? He's got all the skill to do it. He's got the talent. I think he has the respect of his peers. He just needs to be more vocal and maybe a couple of years older maturity-wise. But, that's something you can learn as well. Stop sticking around doing.
There's only one way to learn. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you think about his form lately? I mean, I feel as though he had a great first half against Palace, and he sort of wasn't great after that for the last game and a half. Are you guys seeing the same thing, or is it just me being overly critical or not paying attention?
I think he needs somebody with pace next to him.
Yeah.
Noble, listen, if he's going to be the center defensive mid, he's going to need guys around him to help. If not, he's going to have to go too far because there's too many. You seen him last game. He was making runs up the pitch because nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's doing things that he shouldn't have to be at his position doing. You know, he's taking too much on. You know what I mean? If you want to be a center defensive mid and you want him to like be in front of the back line and kind of keep shit on lock, he's going to need some guys to be able to handle their positions a little ahead of him or right next to him. If not, he's going to be pulled out of position, and then he's going to have to help, and we're going to lose shape, and then that's how they get through and bust our ass. He needs help. He needs some help. He's like when I said we only have a few guys, we got some good guys, but when I say badass dudes, he's one of them.
This is something what Thomas says to me is how I feel, and then maybe my criticism is misplaced because it may not be Declan's fault. He does. He has to put up fires all over the place. And especially I thought against Palace, he had to in the first half he had to come and neutralize Zaha every time he came down the pitch on Zabaleta because Zabaleta couldn't handle him. And he does. He gets tired. And he's. I think we are asking him to do too much. We have Noble back there with him, who's just glacial. You know. If we don't have Noble, it's somebody like Sanchez who's just useless. So, yeah, he's being asked to do too much. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that, Liam?
Well, I mean, you saw it in Palace. Every time that Rice had to pull over to back up Zabaleta, it opened up gaps in the midfield. So all of a sudden, instead of having to deal with the wingers like we had all in the first half, that whole second half after they equalized, the biggest issue we kept running into was them running down the middle of the field, which is ultimately how they scored that goal, was cutting right between the center backs.
Exactly.
So, you know, I think for me, and you know, I've put out on Twitter and whatnot my lineup for that 3-5-2. I put Rice in the middle of it. You know what I mean? You put Diop, you put Ogbonna on both sides of him, and you let him command from that center position. Because like what Charlie's saying, you don't force him to push that far up. Because let's be honest, like Rice isn't always the most attacking player. Like one thing that nobody could take from Noble is he will look for that long diagonal on the winger making the run. Rice doesn't look for that. Nope. Rice doesn't look for he looks for the hard pass through ball, or he looks for the back pass to the center backs. And I just don't think he's my critique of him is that he's not aggressive enough. And like, yeah, maybe you're gonna make a mistake. Maybe you're gonna play a bad pass every now and again. Fuck, I mean, we see Noble do it every game, but I'd rather he at least doesn't always play it safe. And sometimes that's my problem with Rice is he plays it too safe. So maybe you put him in that center back position because you're not putting him in a position where he has to take chances. He can play safe as a center back, whereas midfielders need to be a little bit more creative. They need to be able to push the ball from the back line to the forwards to be able to put it in the back of the goal. I mean, I love it when Rice takes a shot. I just wish it was like Arsenal last season when he binned it in the top corner instead of pushing it far wide or up into row Z.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that comes with maturity. Go ahead, John.
He's got that in his tool belt. He has all the things Mark Noble has in his tool belt. He just hasn't been asked to do it. So, in fact, what I would like to see to replace Mark Noble is Declan Rice. Yeah. And then where I would like to see replace Declan Rice is perhaps, since he's not getting game time and we're not going to bring in any midfielders, is Issa Diop as a central defensive mid to kind of give shield in front of those defenders. Yeah. But I think we need...
Diop is quick, man.
Yeah, that's what he's got, that pace to get side to side and just kind of shield in front of maybe a back three, not a back four, but a back three. If that's not going to happen, I'm keeping Rice where he is, and nobody's talking about it. Let's stick Fornals next to him. He's going box to box right now. Fornals is doing all the legwork for the rest of that midfield that's not getting back right now, and he's going forward, and he's creating chances. He's the best player on the team right now.
Yes,
hands down.
Yeah.
Yes, he's turning into the player I thought he could be at the beginning of the season, and I'm really excited to see it. I just wish everybody else would follow suit. And I wish Pellegrini wouldn't take him off when he's playing perfectly well.
I said all he needed was time. There was one of the guys that watches our thing, right? He asked me on Twitter, he says, do you think he's good or bad? I said, he just needs the time. He just needs to get the minutes. That's it.
He's like 22, 23.
And I said this way back. You know, and now everybody's jumping. Now everybody, now they are jumping on his nuts, right? Where was y'all a fucking month ago? Y'all are schlep. Oh, send her back to Spain. Blah, blah, blah. Spanish flamingo. Blah, blah, blah. Talking all this shit. He's not English. Blah, blah, blah. What the fuck out of here? I said, just calm your tits. He just needs minutes. And now everybody's changing their little Twitters and their Facebook logos. They're like, oh, Team 4 Nows. Ah, yeah, now Team 4 Nows. Where was y'all 2 months ago?
I was with you, Charlie. And
I
when
know,
Lanzini-
Johnny boy. He was
when
with me.
Lanzini stepped back into that team from being injured and stepped right back in without having to wait after 4 Nows had 2-3 games in a row. What was that, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
I was so angry. And he did the same thing again this last weekend. It's
Lanzini
ridiculous.
looked bad this week. I said when they bought 4 Nows, I don't know if y'all remember. I said when they bought him, that was Lanzini's ticket out of here in January or when the season's over. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they bought 4 Nows.
I think you're right. And I think it should be a ticket out. I don't think Lanzini's been impressive at all.
No.
I'm not sure he'll ever be the same player. Maybe when he goes somewhere else, he will be. He'll score against us, like Coyote or,
Of course.
everybody else who plays against us later on.
Had to be
yeah.
checked.
He needs to go to Italy. I think he'll be good over there playing softball. Soft style.
Yeah, he could dive a lot and flop around, because they love to do that in that league. Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. He should probably end up in Italy. He could go to Lazio, since apparently we have some sort of weird connection with Lazio as West Ham fans. We're supposed to love Lazio for some reason. I've never totally understood that, but anyway. Yeah, so we don't have a lot of time left. This has been such a good show. I'm enjoying it. Let's do the dumb thing we always do, where we give way too early predictions for, in this case, Bournemouth, New Year's Day. What's that? 3 days away, something like that. It's not too far away. We don't know the team sheet. We have a brand new manager. We don't know the formation. We know nothing. So tell me what the score is going to be, John.
Oh, God, that's a big question. But here's what's going on. I can't think of a better game for David Moyes to start his career, restart his career at West Ham, than Bournemouth against Eddie Howe, who the majority, or at least 50% of our fan base, wanted to bring in, even though they have about the same record as we do. So I hope for his sake, and maybe even to shut up a little bit of our own fan base, he can come out here and at least steady the ship. My heart is saying that we'll take him 2-0, but my head is saying it'll probably end up being a 0-0 or 1-1 draw. And you know what? That's perfectly fine, because we haven't been able to draw a game in about 12 games, 13 games.
I would
So
have taken draws in so many of these recent games. I would have taken a draw against Palace in a heartbeat. I would have taken one against Leicester. Any of the games we've lost, obviously, but there are a couple where we really had a chance to hang in there. We didn't. Charlie, what do you think?
It depends who's playing fullback, because they got Callum Smith, right? The speed guy. I think last time we played him, it was a draw. Haller and Yarmolenko, they was in the box a little bit together. We weren't playing two up top, but that's how it ended off, right? So I think he got an assist to Yarmolenko, and then Pellegrini said, "Oh fuck, that worked so good, we're not even gonna try it no more." You know what I'm saying? And then Yarmolenko almost had another shot, didn't go in, but I think it ended up 2-2. And both teams missed some close ones. And I think Bournemouth had an offside, so they would have beat us 3-2. But it's a different skipper, but is he going to have his stuff in, whatever? I mean, I don't know. Bournemouth is a shit team. We should be able to beat them.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to say we win this, because they're a poor team and they only got one or two guys. And we should. With what we have, we should beat them.
Yeah.
We should.
What do you think, Liam?
Honestly, I think like 3-0. Like, I'm actually thinking that we come out.
No,
for us, man. For us, I actually think we come out, because you got to think, like, we're hoping for the manager bounce, right? I think every club hopes for the manager bounce, but you also have to think, like, nobody knows what his lineup's going to be. Nobody knows what his tactics are going to be. You can't go off of what he was running 18 months ago, because it was a different squad. So Bournemouth literally is going into this blind, whereas Moyes he hasn't been managing anybody. All he's had is time to sit around watching and analyzing other teams. So if he knew, as we think he did weeks ago, that he was going to get this appointment, I can almost guarantee that he was analyzing the teams that he was going to be up against. I think he comes in like a fucking monster, and I think he plays it safe in the back, but I think he sends those bodies forward. And I think that we see Antonio put one in. I think that we see Fornals put another one in. And God willing, I hope that Haller puts it in the back of the net.
You think he starts?
You know what? I think that Moyes does the 3-5-2, and I think he puts Antonio and Haller up front. And I kind of like what you guys are saying, is maybe he does sit Noble for a little bit and brings him on a little bit later on to help finish off the game when he wants to play a little bit more defensively. And you have Rice and Fornells with Antonio between them in like kind of that mid 3 of the 5. And then you've got your wing backs. You can either do Masuaku on the left or you Cressy. I prefer Cressy, but I know some people want the pace, the style of Masuaku. I don't know why they want the ball given away that bad, but I mean, you do you, girl. But and then you got Fredericks on the right hand side. To me, I think that's a lot of pace and a lot of pressure you could send forward with bodies that are willing to get back. And Antonio at the top of that 3 in the middle, he's not going to be tasked with as much defensive work as he would be when he's being placed on the wings, in which case you don't burn him out as quickly, and he could play more that creative role to get the ball up to the forwards. So I kind of think we crush it, man. I think this might be the one that gives us hope. And then the very next game, we were right back to where we were today. Just pissed and angry.
I can see us. Well, let me just say this: it's not the next. I can see us losing to Gillingham in the cup, honestly, because I can see us putting out the reserves, and which is it's going to be infuriating when that happens. But for Bournemouth, the only problem I have with this match is that it's a B team. We never beat the B teams: Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth. We never beat them ever. It doesn't matter where they are on the table, where we are. It's always a disaster. I was on the Eddie Howe bandwagon for a while, like everybody else. And I'll admit, I have looked at Bournemouth's performances recently, and I've thought, I'm kind of glad we didn't go with them. Not saying we should have gone with Moyes, but I'm not sure Eddie Howe is a savior we thought he was going to be. So we're going to find out. As John said, we're going to find out. I think this will be a huge boost for Moyes if he can walk in and beat the manager everybody wanted. I think that's a gigantic boost for him. As Thomas, I think it was mentioned, here Thomas mentioned in the chat room, Moyes doesn't have much time to change things up. However, Liam, I think your point is good. If the board really have been talking to him for weeks, which I think they probably have, he's probably been watching us, right? I mean, he's probably been.
He's gonna park the bus. He's gonna park. We're gonna play a fucking 5-5-1. That's what everybody's like. You're gonna put goddamn 10 guys in the back. You kidding me? Fucking Moyes is like, I'm parking the bus. Fuck out of here. We're gonna win 1-0 or we'll lose.
9-0-1.
I'm with John on this one. I think it's a draw, and I think it's like a 1-1 draw. We can't score more than 1 goal in a game, by the way. That's some sort of Her Majesty's declaration. Is that the last time we scored more than 1 was what Tottenham, right? When we lost 3-2, and that came right at the end of the match. So we can't score more than 1 goal in a game. So I would go with like a 1-1. And I don't. Nobody's gonna like that, but it's better than losing. And I think it's probably it's probably, I don't know. There's no way to know until it's in the team sheet, the formation, everything else. But if I had to make a guess, that's what I would go with.
Hey, don't bother. If we win, I don't give a damn. Like them old Italian teams, they used to win World Cups back in the day. They'd hold the ball forever, and then they bust you for fucking 1 goal and then win the World Cup.
Yep.
I like to win. There's attacking, whatever. I don't want to lose. I'm tired of fucking losing.
Well,
unless you're Roberto Baggio and you just put it over the bar, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a bad memory. I have nothing against Brazilians, obviously, but I just Baggio is such a great player, and he'll always be remembered for that penalty he missed in the World Cup. That's just tragic to me. Just a terrible, awful way for him to go out as such a fantastic player.
My grandfather's from Florence that crushed him, man. 94, you might as well have died, man.
I hate penalties anyway. I hate World Cup finals and penalties, but honestly, that one, the fact that that's his legacy is just tragic to me, because what a fantastic player for so many years. And he has that one moment that defines everything he ever did, and it's
Not for me. Not for me. That World Cup was made up by Ireland beating Italy in the group stage for me, my friend.
Yeah, that's the other side of my family is County Cork, man. We were a divided household.
See, my nan is from Donegal, so a distant relative of ours was in goal that day with Packy Bonner. So
no way. That
was a fantastic result. It was a terrible World Cup overall. That was a great result.
Hey, it was here in the States.
Listen, it all started with Diana Ross missing a penalty kick.
I could have gone, there were 2 games in Dallas, or maybe 4. I don't know. I was in college at the time. A couple of games in Dallas back then. And I did not go because I went to see the Eagles reunion tour instead. Not the Philadelphia Eagles. They banned the Eagles.
Yeah.
So I spent my money, my budget for entertainment that summer on seeing the Eagles, which was a dreadful, awful show at Texas Stadium. I regret that I didn't go to the World Cup. However, those World Cup games were played during the day in like 105-degree weather in Dallas. So, I mean, not that's not really a very tantalizing prospect either. But yeah, it was Zidane. Nobody remembers Zidane for the headbutt, right? I mean, they remember the headbutt. They don't remember it for the headbutt.
Hey, that's like saying we don't remember the hand of God for Maradona. Like,
But Baggio,
Italy won on penalties in that one, didn't he? When he had it.
yes, they did.
yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
But Baggio gets defined by that miss, and I think that's a real shame. Anyway, that's my words tonight's sermon about Roberto Baggio, which is completely makes a lot of sense because we've been talking about David Moyes all night. Anyway, yeah. So I think we're pretty much done at this point as a show. If maybe as a club too, we'll see. as a show, I think we're pretty much done. Tim will be on tomorrow night. I think it's 8:00 Eastern. If you're subscribed and you get the little bell, bing, that lets you know when we're on, you'll know. Pretty sure it's 8:00 Eastern. You will not want to miss Tim because Tim is the only person I know who can match Charlie word for word in a rant. That dude can go off. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. Be on tomorrow night, 8:00. Check him out. He's just been down in Florida for 2 weeks. He may still, I don't know. I think he's back. He's been down in Florida for 2 weeks. He's going to be all pissed off about it's going to snow and ice tomorrow. It's going to be horrible here.
Oh, man.
Terrible mood. He hates living here anyway. He wants to live in Florida. I get that. So he's going to be in a horrible mood. He's been on a family vacation for the last 2 weeks. They've driven back from Florida. Oh, it's going to be carnage. So let the Moyes banter era begin. Oh man, it's already begun, Thomas. We're here. Anyway, Charlie in Brooklyn, back home, Liam in Fresno. For once, I got it right.
He got it right. Oh, shit.
I've only been on this show for like, what, 2 months?
Yeah. There are people's names I can't remember I've known for years and years. So that happens all the time. John, of course, in Philly, thank you guys for being here. It's been a lot of fun. Huge amount of fun. Sally, sorry I missed you tonight. Sally was at work tonight. We'll see you next week, Sally. See you back on Sunday night. My buddy, my co-host out there near Sacramento. Anyway, bring the Moyes. Let the David Moyes era begin. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you
Come on,
Irons.
guys.
Bored out.
Bored fucking out.
I do agree with that.
They're never going